For the White Sox after a tough road series, which, hey, a winning road trip for the White Sox, winning 2 out of 3 in Baltimore and splitting with Cleveland. They now come home, which we know how very good the Chicago White Sox have been at Rate Field. Their first series in this homestand is the Boston Red Sox, and the Red Sox have been a mess this season. They are 40 and 48. They are currently last place in the American League East. They're 12 games back at Tampa. They're 4 games back at the wild card. They're not exactly sure what they are going to do with the upcoming trade deadline. The Red Sox have won their last 3 games, and they're kind of on a heater. They won 8 of their last 10. They are one of 4 teams in the American League with a winning road record. They're 23 and 21 away from Fenway this year. To sum up the Red Sox, pitching very good, hitting very bad. Their best hitter is Wilson Contreras. He has 20 home runs and 59 RBIs this year. He has a 152 weighted runs created plus and a 2.8 WAR. Their best pitcher has been Ranger Suarez. He's been at 3 WAR, but offensively for the Red Sox, they only currently have 4 above average league hitters right now. They have been really struggling to score runs. Your pitching probables for this series between the White Sox and Red Sox: Tuesday night, 6:40 p.m. Central Time. It'll be lefty Peyton Toll against lefty Noah Schultz. On Wednesday night, this is Pokemon Go night. They are expecting a lot of people in attendance, so much that they might be opening up the gates early because of the Pokemon Go jersey giveaway. It'll be left-handed pitcher Jake Bennett for the Red Sox against righty Davis Martin. And on Thursday afternoon, getaway day at 1:10 p.m. Central Time, to be determined for the Red Sox against Anthony Kay. James Davis Martin struggled against Cleveland. I'm not expecting him to struggle against Boston because, wow, his splits between home and away is incredible. Away from Rate Field, Davis Martin has a 4.72 earned run average. He's 4-3 in 10 starts, 47 strikeouts, 21 walks. At home, Davis Martin is undefeated, a 0.88 earned run average in 7 starts with 43 strikeouts to just 8 walks over 41 innings at home. Is there a rhyme or reason why Davis Martin is pitching so much better at Rate Field than away this season, James?
I mean, I don't think so. We're mostly talking about like his 3 bad starts, and they've all happened to be on the road, New York, Minnesota, and Cleveland. I think probably the trend line to pay more attention to is how recent all of those outings are, and beat the one primary separation from it being uh Atlanta, where he got extended rest and said like you really needed it. Like the Detroit one they got through, that was 6 innings of 1 run ball. Like he said, kind of mechanically, he was off. Kind of similar thing with the Kansas City thing. It's more just like those 3 bad starts have been in the last like month, 5 weeks, 6 week kind of span, and he kind of hasn't either. I think the one thing that obviously stands out is a little bit like mentioning of fatigue and how like heavy his innings have been, and like seeing his velo down a little bit in a couple of these outings, and kind of like acknowledging a little bit of like needing the extra rest that they gave him for the Atlanta start. He is going to have an extra day for this one. I think that's probably the trend line I look at a bit more than home run splits, which certainly align with the White Sox own team wide inexplicable home run splits that I don't have a great answer for either. But I think there's probably like a more pressing objective trend with Martin, other than kind of the ineffable one of whatever he eats when he's in Chicago before a start.
Is it worthwhile asking him after this start against Boston if he excels? Like, is there something about pitching at home that he just feels more comfortable?
He's been asked about them playing there a lot, playing better a lot. But yeah, I don't think he's going to say something like this is way different.
Something
If
profound.
for no other reason than like that would admit that his road operation is just fundamentally flawed in a way that can't be remedied. So, and I don't think he's really of that view. So, giving like some sort of concrete reason at home the next follow-up question is like, well, why wouldn't they replicate that on the road in some way or be racking their brains for how? And I think in terms of the racking their brains are is like, how do you want to guide him into the All-Star break and quickly do that? Because he's on pace to set a career high in innings and kind of acknowledge that that was an issue just last month, on top of kind of looking like someone where that's an issue. So I just think that's probably the thing to latch on to more so than the home road happenstance of it.
Any pitcher that survives Charlotte in their development, I think, probably graduates from worrying too much about the home field. Because watching Jonathan Cannon right now, his road ERA being like more than double what his or his home ERA being more than double what his road ERA is, and when he's pitching away from Truist Field, he looks like that kind of back end starter, like sixth starter that you want. And when he's at home, he looks unrosterable. I think anybody who gets out of that environment alive can more or less put that behind him.
Jim, the White Sox will be facing two left-handed starters from Boston, and they will probably have to see Aroldis Chapman at some point in this series. With these tough lefties, this seems like a stage is set for Randall Grichuk to have a big series for the White Sox offense.
Does looking at the rundown, not to reveal too much, but I have a different player in mind for who needs a big series, but he would certainly be there in terms of he's kind of been the counter move against when a righty's starting and you have Andrew Benintendi in the lineup or Sam Antonacci or whoever, and then the lefty comes in, you need a big at bat. He's the guy that comes in. So theoretically, with two tough lefties being there, he would you treat him like the counter move early. And Will Venable likes to use his moves early or like when they're available. Earlier in games versus waiting for like the optimal opportunity later in games. So he does fit that. Also, like when you have Grichuk starting, then you get into the situation where if like Aroldis Chapman is back there, then you kind of run into the Junior Perez problem in that he's on the roster. He's a right-handed bat, but he's also striking out a lot the way you figure he would given the contact rates in Charlotte and the emergency nature of his call up and kind of existence right now on the 26-man roster. So it does leave him a little bit exposed of having like your worst hitter come up in the most important situations because you are one move short. So I think it is important for Grichuk and then like Andrew Benintendi or whoever, maybe Antonacci, whoever the counter move is behind him to try to maximize those situations, those matchups to where it doesn't fall to Junior Perez if it indeed gets to him in the eighth and ninth. That would be ideal.
So let's play Who Needs a Big Series? And Jim, I'll actually start with you because you weren't going to go with Randall Grichuk. I was trying to set you up. Who is your pick? Who needs a big series for the White Sox to win this series against Boston?
Along the same lines in terms of right-handed bats in the lineup, but Chase Mydroth, I think one of the reasons why he had a rough June. Partially, he didn't really hit lefties at all. From the start of June, he's actually hit righties better against lefties. 229 average, 250 OBP, 343 slugging percentage. Only one walk in 35 plate appearance or 36 plate appearances. So that's not what you want. And I think for the first 2 months of the season, that was his strength. He mashed lefties and was okay against righties, and he went up the lineup against lefties, was properly turned into a secondary role against righties. He played defense, did everything well enough to where it all worked out. But when you are either batting fifth, the middle of the order, or batting towards the top of the order against lefties, you kind of need to come through. And as the White Sox figure out what they're going to do over the course of like the remaining 3 months of the season, with Murakami starting his rehab stint, you're starting to get to the Jacob Gonzalez question that you entertained, and we kind of put off waiting to see like who's actually healthy by the time Murakami comes back. But if Mydroth doesn't hit lefties or if he struggles against lefties like he has like the past month, you do get in the issue of like as you're building lineup, what can you count on this guy to do? And the White Sox do have options to where they might feel like they can, mix the infield in a different way. So I think it's, I think he's had better at bats as of late. Started to see some walks start coming. So hopefully that means that the performance against lefties will reverse as well.
Every time it seems like we challenge Chase Mydroth, he ends up having a good series. So positive jinx is on for Chase Mydroth with Jim picking him needing a big series. James, how about you? Who needs a big series for the White Sox against the Red Sox?
I had like picked one, and then I thought of like I picked one like early, and then I spent like the rest of the time trying to like think of something obscure and like ingenious and like outside the box, to to think myself out of like the very clear and easy decision I had made. It's like Tristan Peters has to produce, or else like this series, like I don't know, makes no sense. Obviously, like yeah, a lot of lefty starters, and they need like their righty matches to go. But I still want to stick with like Davis Martin because one, obviously, he starts one of these games. They're kind of most proven option for getting deep in games, and someone they don't have to or have not had to think about opening for, even when there's like a slate of lefty hitters like could be present here. Just like one for him, because that's my original interpretation of the question was that you were asking me who needs to have a good game or um, be in trouble or something like that. And then I only later realized what the actual correct interpretation of the question was, and that it was who needs to play well for the White Sox to have success. But Davis Martin kind of fits both
He does.
criteria in the sense that like you want to see him be able to turn this around in order to be convinced to like one that he can bounce back from these things like quickly and that it's not something that needs more consideration in terms of how do you manage him coming out of the break, or do you even want him if he gets offered to like pitch in the All-Star game as a replacement? Do you want him to pitch, or do you want him to like, hey, let's like you've been pitching a lot of innings, let's and things are kind of going a little haywire right now. Why not let's give you like a week and a half off or whatever like would come from sitting out. So for both him and like maybe getting an opportunity and just also for like the team to have good vibes and have like faith in like what their rotation looks like coming out of the break and what they need going to the deadline. I think a good Martin finale to the first half would, be a mood raiser, even if it's not like he's on notice or he's out of the rotation or something like that. He's not actually like absolutely needs to have a good start or you lose faith in the project a bit. But I think another like 6 innings, even like the kind of scrappy outings against like Detroit or the Royals where he just kind of gets through, even if he's not like at his top self where he's blowing people away like against the Angels early in the season. I think that'd be a big mood raiser going into the break as far as like what he looks like going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. Finish the pre All-Star break strong, and then if he doesn't make the All-Star team, or if he does and he doesn't pitch, then at least he gets a trip to Philadelphia, or he gets some much needed vacation time before the White Sox regroup in Toronto to start the post All-Star break part of the 2026 season. For me, I'm going to go with Brady Montgomery. I have a good feeling that Miguel Vargas is going to be a big factor in this series for the White Sox. But Brady Montgomery, the early questions for him ever since he was in Texas A&M as a right-handed batter, can he hit consistently against left-handed pitching? This would be a good test for Brady Montgomery. It's early. He's only had 20 at-bats this season against left-handed pitching. Right now, he's got a 623 OPS, but he's going to get back-to-back starts against lefties. It'd be nice to see if he can get some success against these two southpaws, or maybe even some late inning success against Aroldis Chapman.
Big week for the crochet trade in general, like in terms of the way
Yeah.
Boston media is kind of primed right now. A well-timed hit or whether it's Montgomery or Teal or Mydroth could really set some things off. So that adds another layer of intrigue and entertainment to the obvious on-field benefits.
Yeah, if the White Sox could sweep the Red Sox, sit back and enjoy the media storm that'll be brewing out of Boston. I think at this time, at this stage of the season, a lot of Boston media has just settled into what they're expecting a full teardown coming in the All Star after the All Star break, heading towards the trade deadline. Wilson Contreras has been in some brouhahas for Boston. Obviously, a lot on his mind as a Venezuelan native and all the devastation that's been going on in Venezuela. Our thoughts are for everyone from Venezuela and for those that maybe have family in Venezuela. Just a really terrible situation. But yeah, this has not been the season. Probably on the same page as the New York Mets, that neither of those franchises were expecting in 2026. So if Mydroth has a big series, if Montgomery has a big series, if Teal has a big series, it's not going to make the situation better in Boston and how they're feeling about the 2026 Red Sox team. But we will be recapping this series on Thursday night, as we'll be covering all 3 games at home. James will be there for us. So we'll have more videos as well with pregame and postgame interviews as far as those press conferences. We'll be loading up those videos on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Sox Machine. We'll have some more prospect videos as well. More draft stuff coming up. The MLB draft is happening on Saturday. And then you got the All-Star game. So much is going on from a Chicago White Sox perspective. So continue to visit us daily on SoxMachine.com. But if you just discovered the Sox Machine podcast, you can subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts, such as Spotify and Apple Music. I already promoted our YouTube channel, but please watch our videos there. And if you do, hit the subscribe button at youtube.com/Sox Machine. Follow us on social media. We're on all the social media platforms at Sox Machine. Follow James for up-to-date information and news releases as well, especially any roster changes the White Sox may have with this upcoming homestand at JR Fegan. You can follow me at SoxMachine_Josh. If you enjoy our work and want full access to all of our coverage of the Chicago White Sox, Major League Baseball, and very important, the upcoming Major League Baseball draft, go to SoxMachine.com/products and sign up for a Sox Machine subscription with monthly plans starting at $5 unless you're new. And then you can take advantage of our sale because the White Sox continue to win, Jim. So we're still between that 52 to 54 cents.
Yeah, whatever day you're listening to it. Yes, right now it is 53 cents.
53 cents. So sign up, 53 cents for your first month, and then $5 a month afterwards. If you want more and you get more, we have additional tiers of support. Go to SoxMachine.com/products and sign up today. The Sox Machine podcast is a production of SoxMachine.com. You're on for all things Chicago White Sox baseball. Alongside James Fegan and Jim Margulis, I'm Josh Nelson. Thanks for listening and watching.